Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for a little bit of a different one because in the midst of international break, 2 games out of the last 3 down, I'm going to have a look at what my England team for the Euros would be. This is always a fun one. Everybody has their ideas. What I'm going to try and do is, first of all, figure out what I think Southgate's actually going to do and then say what I personally would do. And, of course, then encourage you guys in the comments to get your England starting 11s for that first game in the Euros down there in the comments. So, 2 games gone. Poland coming up on Wednesday night. And then that's it. That's the last competitive game before the Euros. Hopefully Mr. Southgate's been accumulating much in the way of information as he's been going. He says he knows what he's going to do, but I'm sure his mind could be swayed to even a little tweak or, God forbid, an injury. He needs to have a plan B, doesn't he? That is the list of players who have been used in the 4 squads in 2021 so far. Remember, we've had internationals in September, October, November, then a big gap, and these recent ones now in March 2021. So, 4 keepers there: Pope, Henderson, Johnston, Pickford have been used. I don't think Johnston's got out on the pitch, has he? He's only been a recent addition. Right backs, James, Trippier, Walker, Alexander-Arnold have been called up. Left backs, Short, Chilwell and Shaw. Remember, in the 3 at the back configuration, he's used Trippier as a left wing back and Saka as a left wing back as well. I've included Saka in my attacking midfielders list on the basis of what he does for Arsenal. Centre backs, Stones, Mings, Maguire, Dyer, Cody, Gomez and Keane have been used. Central midfielders, Bellingham, Phillips, Ward-Prowse, Rice, Henderson, Winks and Maitland-Niles. Again, I've called Maitland-Niles a central midfielder because that's what he does for West Brom. However, he was also tried in that left wing-back spot. Feels like that may be one of the positions up for grabs. Well, then we need to get into the conversation of is it left full-back or is it left wing-back? Then you're attacking midfielders stroke forwards, and with modern football being the way it is, I think I go the Premier League fantasy football route of central strikers are strikers, and anyone who plays wide in a 4-3-3 or off the front in a 4-2-3-1 or as a 10 is an attacking midfielder stroke forward. So we're talking Lingard, Mount, Foden, Rashford, Saka, Sterling, Grealish, Barnes and Greenwood. And then the strikers there: Kane, Calvert-Lewin, recently Watkins, Abraham and Ings. Already mentioned the thorny issue of shape, and this is important. So there are the 10 games England have played, competitive and friendlies, and you can see in the main, Gareth Southgate on 6 occasions there has used we'll call it a 3-4-3. So 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, a double pivot, and then 2 wide inside forwards, hopefully narrow, with the wing-backs coming outside them, and 1 central striker. However, he tried once a 3-5-2. You can see, if you zoom right in, Grealish with in a number 10 position with Calvert-Lewin and Ings up front. That was a system that was played without Harry Kane, though. And given that most of us think Harry Kane is probably the first name on the team sheet, maybe we can discard that. The interesting thing is, though, that these back 4s, 2 of those are the last 2 games. Call them what you like. There's a 4-1-4-1 on there, 4-3-3. People always get a bit pedantic about this because ultimately we're basically judging the difference between a 4-1-4-1, a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1 on where one midfielder is. What we know in that system is you have a back 4, you have a central striker, you have 2 wide, and then either you can have 1 midfielder sitting and 2 midfielders forward, 2 midfielders sitting in a number 10, or 3 straight centre mids and it's a 4-3-3. The important thing is it's not a back three and there's one central striker. So what seems fairly clear straight away is that Southgate's not going to play a two up top. And we're going to know more after the Poland game. I think if we get to the Poland game and he goes straight back to that three at the back, we know that's his go-to system. And he was just against San Marino and Albania trying something a little bit different. What I've done is I've tried to pick the most no-thrills, patently obvious, logical 11 that Gareth Southgate might pick. This is not my 11. So this would be the no surprises Gareth Southgate 11. So we'd keep the back three and we'd keep the system and he'd be loyal to a lot of his normal troops. So the logical safe 11, in my opinion, would be Pickford in goal because Southgate likes him. And frankly, with the way they want to distribute the ball, he's better with his feet than the other keepers. However, we'll talk about the keeper position in a bit. Maguire, Stones, Walker. I just think he likes Walker in as a third centre-back. And, he's quite unique in that respect, Kyle Walker. He's got a bit of pace and you can switch to a back four quite easily. And then Trippier. I think Shaw is an interesting one because he's come into form and he plays for a big team. And, sometimes it's just take the guy playing at the highest level and stick him in. We've seen with many England managers rather than necessarily the form player. Henderson and Rice. And then I've put Sterling and Mount. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion. This is what I think Southgate will do, by the way, not what I would do, about these attacking midfield positions where literally, again, Lingard, Mount, Foden, Rashford, Saka, Sterling, Grealish, Barnes, Greenwood. I'm sure someone will pick out Maddison. We haven't even put, let me write him down on the list. We haven't even put Maddison there because he hasn't sort of recently featured, but definitely another one that you can squeeze in there as well. And obviously Kane up front. So that would be the patently obvious 11. Here is what I would do. And as always with these opinion videos, two things really quickly to say. Don't pull apart what I do too much unless you're going to put your own team. Do you know what I mean? You may as well just stick your own team up rather than pull apart mine. Because the first thing anyone would reasonably ask in a debate is, okay, what would you do? So think about that. And please, my motto is leave your bias at the door. If you support any of these teams, please don't include a player just because he plays for the team you support or you like him. No, you can include a player because you like him. That's fine, of course. But you know what I'm saying, don't you? Right, here we go. So there's an empty page. And I'm going to try and do this in a vaguely logical way. So it seems the smartest thing to do is that straight away. Because it's fairly obvious. Kane, Calvert-Lewin, Watkins, Abraham, Ings. Look, we're all going to pick Harry Kane, aren't we? He's the best England striker. He's the England captain. He's the Golden Boot winner at the last World Cup. And given everything else that's been happening, it's not going to be a front two. The only time a front two was tried was when Kane wasn't there. So you stick Kane in immediately and it's Kane. And given, well, I'll put my cards on the table now. Given that there are so many good attacking midfield players, I'm going to go 4-2-3-1 to try and fit them in. Of course, you're entitled to say, well, I don't think that's England's best way of winning games. I think they should do what they did in the World Cup. Keep it tight and score from set plays. Fine. Then you might want to go with the three at the back. I think we can do it a bit of a different way. So I'm going to go this way. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I need my experience and my spine. So I'm going to go Harry Maguire as the left-sided centre-back. You've got various other choices. I mean, if you want purely to do it on getting a left footer there, Tyrone Mings is the most obvious sort of left foot player. But honestly, with the centre-backs, they're all decent enough. Keane, Gomez, Cody, Dyer, etc. I just think with Maguire, with the leadership, with him having been there in the last World Cup as well, and you need these type players on the pitch, the vocal ones. I think Maguire's got to go in. So he's my left-sided centre-back. And then, for the rest of my experience and my spine, I drop in Jordan Henderson. Again, just a player who's been around, won the Champions League, won the Premier League, and you just need 2, 3, well, as many as you can, but a minimum of those leaders throughout the pitch to do the non-football-y stuff that us football fans sometimes don't appreciate very much. So there's a bit of a spine of Kane, Henderson and Maguire. And then I think this is a fairly obvious one. I'm going to put Luke Shaw in at left back purely on the basis that that's a position they've been messing around with, haven't they? Trying Trippier at left wing back and Saka, Maitland-Niles, Chilwell, etc., etc. I think if it's a back four, it's Shaw just ahead of Chilwell. That would be my thought. And I think Southgate will be happy that Shaw has just kind of got into form. So I'll stick him at left back. And then, speaking of form as well, I'm sure everybody's happy because he's a ball-playing centre-half, good physical player. He's going to win the Premier League. Let's stick John Stones in next to Harry Maguire as the right-sided centre-back. That gives us most of a back four. And this will ruffle a few feathers. I'll go for Kyle Walker. Again, look, I love Reece James. I loved him in the Championship for Wigan. Trippier is Southgate's guy as well. So is Walker. And I know a lot of people will like Trent Alexander-Arnold. I just feel his right-back position at Liverpool is a bit more of a unique one than the Manchester City one for a Kyle Walker. And I just think a couple of things, that skill set, the pace, the ability to come across and play centre-half in a three if they need to, and the partnership already with John Stones. So that would be my back four, Shaw, Maguire, Stones and Walker, which was the back four last night, wasn't it? How creative of me, yeah? Right, let's stick the keeper in. Oof, there you go. I'll go for Dean Henderson. This is a bit of a tricky one because first of all, we get the England derangement syndrome where people get very emotional. And obviously Pickford has been the punch bag for lots of this emotional, he's not good enough, rah, 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 scream, shout. If we take a calm approach, we'll say that Pickford is probably the better with his feet out of all of those, followed by Henderson. And then, let's be honest, Pope and Johnston are playing for Sam Allardyce and Sean Dyche. They're playing everything long. Do you know what I mean? So you wouldn't want to be knocked out of a major tournament because your keeper plays well but then gives the ball away playing out from the back because he can't do it because he doesn't do it for his club. I just think Henderson maybe is going to be coming into being a long-term Man United goalkeeper, and I think I'd just go for him ahead of Pickford on the basis that Pope I like, but I just feel he's less well suited to playing the ball out to the fullbacks and using his feet. We saw a little bit last night of that as well than Henderson is. So we'll do that. There's my back four. Now, who am I going to put in my double pivot there? And again, England fan derangement syndrome. God, we need to understand that in a system where you play one up top and three supporting, you have to have two central midfielders that sit. Else, literally, if the fullbacks go forward, you have no players defending. So it is just one of those things with the modern system of one up front. I do feel they don't need to both sit there. And they didn't both sit there last night. When we saw the low block Albania put out, Rice was there and Phillips moved far further forward than we see him normally at Leeds. And I think I've given away my answer there. I think in terms of balance, Henderson and Phillips gives you a little bit more all-round than perhaps Henderson and Rice. And let's be completely transparent here. So I think Bellingham will be in there in future tournaments, but not this one. Ward-Prowse, okay, good player, and you'd really want him for the set plays. Rice is, I think it's between Phillips and Rice, isn't it? With Winks and Maitland-Niles maybe as outsiders. And Maitland-Niles really doesn't come into the conversation too much because he's been used as a wing-back rather than central midfielder. I just feel with Henderson and Phillips, you have enough defensively, enough in terms of organisation, and then enough ability to play that ball and find the space, switch the play like you need to if you are against a low block or in a tight, hard game. you have to be able to do both, don't you? You have to be able to defend and you have to be able to play in a double pivot there. And look, Rice, I think, is a great player. And I know a lot of people will pick Rice in one of those positions. Maybe Henderson and Rice. Maybe Rice and Phillips. Who knows? But I've just gone for Phillips in ahead there. Shoot me down. As I say in the comments, put your own team, yeah? Let's do the three off the front. And this is a nightmare. It's genuinely a nightmare because you got so many good players. Lingard, Mount, Foden, Rashford, Saka, Sterling, Grealish, Barnes, Greenwood and Maddison. Now, we need to be sensible. This is about balance, yeah? We can't have three players who are all the same, who do the same thing, who all want to pick the lock. We can't have three players who all just want to dribble in behind and shoot. We can't have three players and none of them are quick. We can't have three players and no finishers in there. So you have to leave someone out here, I think, based on balance, not necessarily who are the three best individual players on paper, who's the most skillful, fine. That doesn't make the best combination. And sometimes you end up being one note, particularly if you don't have, and I'm going to nail my colours to the mast here, you need pace and you need a finisher. If you're only playing Harry Kane, yes, he's a brilliant finisher. You need one more finisher in your team. You can't just have three creators. I do think you need another finisher. So, first name I'm going with is Foden. And this informs what I'm going to do with the other couple of positions. Foden I really, really like. I think he's a little magician type player. And it's almost, in my head, and I know others will go with both of them, it's almost Foden or Grealish for me, if you want to balance this up well, as your fantasista player who's going to pick the lock. I'm going to put Foden in there on the right. I like the inverted style as well and players coming inside. But, look, we're lucky. And I think there's three of them here. Foden, Grealish and Maddison are players that we've thought we've not had at previous tournaments who, when it is tight, give them the ball, they can dribble while they're on the run, play through the lines, draw a foul, win a penalty in a tight game. So we've got those players and hopefully we'll have all three of them in the squad. I've put Mount in. Now, I know this will get a certain reaction from certain fans, but hey, as I say, put your own team in. I think in the three off the front, you need a player who can be a little bit of a number 8 as well, drop in, circulate the ball, and has a little bit of more central midfield skills. And I think Mount is the best player there, not as an outright number 10. No, he's not Zidane or Vaughan or whoever, who is, frankly. But I think he can glue together a double pivot and some creative wide players and a centre forward and get in the box. And you saw him score last night. And I know this is not the point of this part of the video, but Southgate continually picks him as well, doesn't he? So he's highly rated. So I'm going to go for Mount. Now, here's the last slot. And look, this is a nightmare, isn't it? So, Greenwood, Barnes, Grealish, Sterling, Rashford, Lingard, Saka, Maddison. There's literally so many good players. Let's be honest, they're all really good players, aren't they? They could all do you the job. It just depends, what do you want for your balance? And I think with my three off the front, I've got my Fantasista, I've got my Foden in there, I've got Mount to glue it together. I think I need a finisher. So, sorry, I love Grealish, I've championed him for ages. He's on the bench, he's coming on as soon as anything needs happening. So I don't think I need a Grealish or a Maddison there. I think I need a Rashford, a Sterling or a Greenwood in there. And I'm going to go for Rashford. So, yes, no Sterling, no Grealish. Again, like I say, pick your own team. I think that's the balance. There's your central striker, your player who can pick the lock in Foden. By the way, Grealish is great and Maddison's great as well at doing that type of job. Mount will glue things together and not necessarily a number 10 who's going to sit there playing balls through, but I think you can get that from the wide positions. And also drop into central midfield. And Rashford, I just think if you go in with a Foden and a Grealish, or a Foden and a Maddison, or a Maddison and a Grealish, I think you're putting all of your eggs in the Kane basket in terms of getting into the box and scoring goals. And I just think if you have a Rashford or a Sterling, I've gone for Rashford, you get that player who's pretty much on the pitch as a auxiliary striker who can do the other bits and get up and support. So there is my England team. Henderson, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Phillips and another Henderson, Mount 10, Foden and Rashford right and left, and Kane up the top. It's quite tricky, isn't it? So I will reiterate here, you are more than welcome to comment on my 11. That's fine, but why not put your own? Especially if you're critical. The first thing I'm going to say is, well, who would you have? And let's be honest, everybody can find pros and cons for everybody's team. So let's try and treat the exercise as a bit of fun. There is no right or wrong answer. It's personal to whoever you would choose. And what I would really love, read the second bit there, let me know what positions you're putting people in the general shape. I would love to read your England team. So maybe give me the shape, and if you want to put like football manager positions, DR, DC for right backs and centre backs, and where you're going to play people. And I'd love to get an idea of what the sort of general group think is on, you know, people's favourite England teams. Again, let's not let the England derangement syndrome kick in. Let's keep nice and calm, and let's just pop our teams in and try and have a little bit of fun with it. Here's mine. One more time. Henderson in goal. Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Phillips, the other Henderson, Foden, Mount, Rashford, and Harry Kane. I do not have a personal vendetta against any player who I have not picked in my hypothetical YouTube England team from my little office here in Bedfordshire. So again, get your comments in. Just keep it nice and calm and get your own teams in there as we go ahead and look at England's Euros 11. Thank you everybody for watching. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.